Okay, so welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us for the Health and Wellness Expo for our You Good Fam information session. We're so thankful to all of you for being here and for joining us. This is day 3 of our expo where we are highlighting the various programs and services and departments that can help support your well-being. So we are excited to have our presenters here today, and I'll just take a moment to introduce you to Denzel and Ryan. So Denzel is currently pursuing an MA in Higher Education Administration and volunteers as a peer educator through Healthy Campus initiatives at the Wellness Center. In addition to serving as a student advisor for You Good Fam, he is also an academic success coach. Denzel earned his BA degree in economics, the class of 2020. Congratulations. And while pursuing that degree, he was fully immersed in student life, holding various positions in student-led organizations such as PRISM, SOCA, and REAL. And then we also have Ryan Nichols. Ryan earned his BA at Rowan University, class of 2019, with a major in health promotion and wellness management. At Rowan University, Ryan worked as a building manager for 3 years for SCCA and is now serving as a student advisor for You Good Fam. He has working at multiple fitness centers as a personal trainer and studying and learning new methods in exercise science. So thank you so much. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'll go ahead and mute myself.
Good. All right. Welcome everybody. My name is Ryan, and along with Denzel here, we're just going to explain what You Good Fam is. So here is our student advisory board. All of us serve as advisors to the creator of You Good Fam, Dr. Ka Sadler. There, myself, along with others, and Denzel. Basically, we help her basically support You Good Fam. So You Good could basically use that slang to um, more so ask like multiple things. So in that saying, You Good could be mean multiple things. So that's why we use that umbrella term. So here you say, You Good, are you okay? You are okay. You good? How have you been? Did you get enough sleep? It could be many, many different things. So that's why we use that umbrella term more so um, for You Good Fam. And to support that, it's just more so the vernacular of using it when students feel from racial and ethnic groups deviate from the standard language from the dominant culture, they may be greeted with confusion and criticisms by educators not recognizing the student may simply be complying with the ethnic community norms. So that basically means that if they are in a publicly white institution, they may not catch on to certain lingo or different things like that. So the things that they're comfortable with in their own culture, You Good Fam can support that within that umbrella term. So close connection between language and ethnicity is what I just talked about, and linguistic expression tied to ethnicity. So um, You Good basically can serve as a mental health check-in. Um, that when I ask you, like, are you good? That opens you up to um, basically saying either yes or no, and then thus expounding upon that, opening different language of communication. So transferable language normalizes healing and help seeking. So if I don't ask you, are you good? You're basically either trying to figure out on your own, or as far as You Good Fam goes, you don't have that outlet. So that's why we have that program in place to basically help each other as far as that goes. So the mission and goal, there, our creator, Dr. Kosh Sadler, she created You Good Fam. So I'll just read off here. You Good Fam program was created by Dr. Kosh Sadler for the explicit purpose of developing a network of mental health professionals, educators, and others in helping professions to create a culture that works collaboratively to foster and advance mental health and emotional well-being of self-identified students of color. Research has shown that a supportive network of faculty, staff, and students peer within institutions of higher education and other education settings can reduce achievement gaps and improve mental health well-being for students of color. UGoodFam is a means to support, address, increase access, inclusivity, uh, receptivity, and to mental health services, and help meet the needs racially and ethnically diverse students within institutions of higher education and other educational settings. So within the mission and goal, you have to back it with research. So the main thing, I don't want to just read upon the whole thing, just to give you an overview. Um, the study was with the Steve Fund along with the JED Foundation. So basically, they polled college students of African American, Latino, white, and Asian Americans along. They found a comparison with white students. The disparity is basically that they didn't find that their college was very inclusive. They felt isolated, and they're more likely to feel alone. So that basically another part that they talked about was like the one size fits all approach. If like basically if they just felt like they were just thrown into a pool almost. So um, research also showed barriers between language and concerns with the stigma. They felt like they were maybe feeling judged of some sort. Of and also they felt like the mental health practitioners, they didn't feel like they were culturally competent or ethnically matched. So that's what more so, not to say that You Good Fam is not therapy, but more so in the fact that it's a place where students of color can come and more so just express how they're feeling emotionally, along with the bounce off of me and more so to another student, not too much a higher up of some sort. And basically, different methods of engagement that You Good Fam has. We have student dialogues throughout the year. Um, they're facilitated by clinicians, campus partners, or community stakeholders who are committed to servicing disparities among students of color. In those meetings, basically, you'll have like a circle, and though it's facilitated by a clinician or a professional, it's not more so meant for them to dominate the conversation. It's more so just for the students to open up and talk to each other more so. So we're moderating at that point, but it's really more so for the students to come together and share their experience on campus. You Good Fam also offers educational sessions are also offered during the course of the year for academic students, faculty, professional staff, and administrators within institutions of higher education and other education settings who are eager to build upon and gain additional knowledge based on how to best work with students of color. So these are more so for the professional staff. If you work whether you work at a rec center or the student center or different parts of the campus that you work at, these sessions are geared to you. So that way you can basically take what you learned in that session um, and basically try to apply that within your organization. You Good Fam also has mental health liaisons who are faculty and staff trained to serve as advocates to students for one, ongoing guidance, support, and advocacy; two, to normalize help seeking; and three, to provide continuous referrals to the institutions of higher education, counseling, and psychological services, wellness centers, and other mental health supportive services within educational settings. And lastly, if someone would want to become a, I guess, moderator or try to help along with You Good Fam, we have a train the trainers portion. Is basically geared towards sharing strategies to enable health professionals, educators, and others within helping the profession and best ways to offer to facilitate a You Good Fam student dialogue. So that being said, I'll just toss it to Denzel.
So now to talk more in depth about our like main points of like outreach. Our student dialogues are kind of like the heart of You Good Fam. When folks think about You Good Fam, they kind of think about the student dialogues the most, just because those are most interactive with the students. Just to drop some numbers in regards to our attendance. Importantly, of course, pre-COVID, our numbers were higher and like they've kind of steadily dropped, just due to lack of student engagement, which is kind of like a major issue for all programs, not just ours. But some of the topics that we cover. So for the November 2018 thing that we did, Wild Wild Thoughts. So we kind of looked at the Rihanna and DJ Khaled song Wild Thoughts and kind of played on that. And so we talked about that through like a mental health lens. So pretty much kind of like, challenging our cognitive distortions. So kind of like, some of the bad thoughts that we have like in our mind, and kind of like unpacking those with like a student group setting, which we found kind of like impactful. And then also we talked about the whole R. Kelly scandal that happened around 2019 and how that shook the Black and Brown community. And we also mentioned things like covering traumas under the rug that happens in like Black and Brown communities, and how we can kind of like combat that and kind of say like enough of that. Like we're going to start talking about our hidden traumas, our family traumas, our traumas that like we kind of deny ourselves, and really like get into it. So that's kind of like what we try to tackle during our student dialogues. And then next we had the education sessions. They're open to all students, faculty, and staff, like how Ryan said, but we feel like faculty and staff really benefit more so from it, just because they can kind of put what they're being taught during these education sessions to practice in their places of work, and like when they are interacting with students. And so just name a few things that like we've done. We talked about the HBCU experience and how that can differ for people. We talked about a guide for white women to teach Black boys. So when we came up with that idea, we saw like primary and secondary education is like majority white cis female teachers, and how like when you kind of and how like when they find their polar opposite, like a Black male, how can they kind of still have like respect for each other's cultures and also learn from each other. So we found that education session very impactful. And then we also tackled things like human trafficking with Brandy. This is something that kind of happens and it's kind of hidden like around mainstream media in regards to the disappearing of like Black and brown youth, and like where do they go, what happens to them. We really tried to understand and unpack a lot of that. And then one of our more recent sessions, we talked about pushing past discomfort to support students, and then also how we can change the lives of students one day at a time. And then also we had a education session, I believe in February, with Dr. Lassiter in regards to the difference between race and ethnicity, and how we as faculty, students, and staff can really understand the difference between the two, because they are very different for numerous reasons, and how we can like cater towards educating students in like an inclusive environment for both. And then next, to talk about some of our data, we just pulled some surveys from 9 students, because that's pretty much what our mean was after like our low numbers due to COVID. And this is kind of like our demographics. So we do have students who are more like past the traditional age range, but that's fine, just because like we feel like we want to hear from all students, not just the classic traditional learner. And then also in regards to gender, we are more so female, but in regards to mental health overall, that's not surprising, because of course we know that women tend to use mental health services more than men. Even though You Good Fam is not a mental health resource per se, it can be therapeutic, and it has like a lot of therapeutic characteristics to it. And so I feel like sometimes we as males and males of color can kind of run from that, but we're really trying to push past that kind of stigma moving forward. and then also in regards to sexual orientation, we tend to be more heterosexual, straight, whatever you want to call it. But of course, we try to be as inclusive as possible in regards to our student dialogues. We've talked about things in regards to homophobia and transphobia in Black and Brown communities, and we really try to get to the root of why that is, and kind of get past the history of that to kind of move forward as well. And then in regards to race, we are predominantly Black, but we are inclusive to all people of color, and then also our white allies as well. So like we do have programming that I will talk about really quickly. Let me get to that slide in just a moment, but I also wanted to talk about people's exiting experience in regards to You Good Fam. Particularly, like, you know, people seem to be really positively impacted after our sessions. Either that's like, you know, they want to, like, you know, make macro change or micro changes in their life, whether that's like, you know, practicing, like, you know, meditation after one of our educational or student dialogues, or like, you know, outreaching more to, like, you know, faculty and staff, because now they are, like, you know, more trusting after, you know, experiencing people like, you know, Dr. Sadler and stuff like that. So people seem to be changed positively after our sessions, which we're thankful for. And then also just to read off a few testimonials. People love us. People love the conversation. They love how accepting we are. And then lastly, the last student testimonial, I'll just read that really quickly. You Good Fam Student Dialogue is the safe space I did not know I needed. Never have I felt more motivated to share my struggles around mental health and listen to my peers share their testimonials. So pretty much that's kind of like the overall like goal of You Good Fam, to get people talking about their mental health, and really, like, you know, taking that in their own hands and realizing that mental health and mental health resources is not just for mainstream people to consume. I feel like there's a lot of, like, you know, myths and legends regarding mental health resources, that it's, you know, catered towards, like, you know, affluent non people of color, when it's really open to all. So that's really what we try to strive for. And then also we have our student dialogues, as Rani mentioned, monthly. Our last one is April 27th, and the link is right here as well. And then also we have our education session in April that is coming as well, with Dr. Nellie Tran. And so for this educational session, we really want to get as many students to attend, students, faculty, and staff to attend as possible. And also we really want to hear from our Asian American student leaders on campus, to really have a conversation in regards to the anti-Asian hate that's been going on in recent weeks and months, and really try to figure out ways that we can all move forward and, like, you know, all support this group, but also all people of color, and how we can all support each minority groupings individual issues and problems. So that's really what we're trying to achieve before the semester is up. And that's pretty much it for our presentation. If you guys have any questions or things like that, feel free to drop them in the chat box, and then also we can be reached out to via email as well.
Thank you so much, Denzel and Ryan. Really appreciate that. Can I just ask a question? Where, you know, beyond the semester, I know you have the upcoming sessions, but if people wanted to learn more about, or where they could find information on You Good Fam, like where is the best place to look out for those? Is there some place to contact you all, or?
I would say our social media. I can drop that in the chat in about a couple of seconds. I just need to copy and paste it, because I'm really bad. I mean, I don't run the Instagram, but like, it's run very well. So if you want to keep up to date with our education sessions and also our student dialogues, that's definitely the place to do it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. I was able to attend a few of the past information sessions and was really helpful. So I appreciate all that you're doing for the Rowan community. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay. So while Denzel is getting that information together, I'm also going to drop some information into the chat. So again, just to mention that this session has been recorded. So if you know someone who may want to take a look for this session, for any of the sessions through the expo, you can come back to our website, and I'll put that website into the chat so you can come back to that. Okay, and it looks like Denzel has the Instagram information there. Thank you, Denzel. And then this is our website where we'll post all of the videos for any of the sessions that we presented over the course of these 3 days. I do want to mention too that while our intention is to highlight all of the different areas of well-being and all the opportunities and programs and services that Rowan has to offer to support your well-being, we of course were not able to showcase them all. So I just encourage everybody to check out the Thrive website, which I also put into the chat, and you can also check out ProfLink because there's lots of postings on different programs, services, and student groups to help support your well-being. So I am going to go ahead and stop recording.